Welcome to the Creekwood High School Football Coaches Show with Creekwood head coach Houston Thiel and Dickson Post sports reporter Casey Patrick. The Creekwood Football Coaches Show is brought to you by Preston Thompson's Carpet Shop, for all your flooring and paint needs since 1970, voted #1 in Dickson County. The Dickson Tater Shack. Their potatoes are fluffy clouds of deliciousness that'll have you falling head over heels. New Wave Hobbies, bringing back the nostalgia with all your favorite childhood treasure in one place. Ace Hardware of White Bluff, your one-stop shop for all your do-it-yourself needs, where service and quality are always on point. Drug-Free Dickson Coalition, empowering our community one step at a time towards a healthier, substance-free future. And the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Now, here are Coach Houston Thiel and Casey Patrick.
Hello and welcome to the Creekwood High School Football Coaches Show. My name is Casey Patrick. I'm here with Coach Houston Thiel. Coach, Friday night, 21-10 loss at Greenbrier here. Y'all were in complete control of that game, I felt like. And then a fumble and they return it. We were just talking about it. That was a weird momentum swing, and it was such a hard shift. Is that kind of where everything just really went wrong on Friday?
Well, we had done so much good stuff up until that point. And like you said, really felt like we were in control of the ball game. But it just goes to show, man, how big a factor momentum can be in a game. And you know, we were on I think it was an 8-play drive and had picked up several first downs, and all the first downs were on the ground. And when you're able to do that, you really start to bend the wheel of the defense. And you know, they were starting to kind of, Xavier was running the ball extremely hard. Man, he had a really good night running the football, and you know, he was starting to get people to step out of way of tackles. You know, so we're starting to pop off some 15-yard runs. You know, and you're like, man, this thing's trending in the right direction. And you know, I guess hats off to Greenbrier for being right there and making a hit that kind of popped the ball loose. And you know, not only you can probably survive a fumble there, because I mean, it's going to be deep in their territory. They're going to have to drive 80 yards to score. But somehow this ball pops up and right to who I would consider this past Friday Greenbrier's most impactful player.
Yes.
Number 9 there, played quarterback and free safety for him, and popped up right to him, and he makes one or two guys miss and is able to take it back for a touchdown. And you know, you felt like you've controlled the game all the way up into that point, and somehow you look up at the scoreboard and you're down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a tough pill to swallow. And trying to come back from that, you know, it was tough, especially the next series we go out kind of reeling, because I mean, we've just been on a long drive and go 3 and out and kind of continue that momentum shift, and you know, was really never able to get it back on our side.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Xavier. He was running the ball really well, and your offensive line was doing a pretty good job of getting him holes. And like you said, really beating down the wheel of Greenbrier, but then that fumble just brought them back to life, and it was just a complete 180 shift.
Yeah, as we kind of sat around and talked about it this weekend, and you know, beginning of the week, it was one of those games that you felt like everything was our way until it wasn't. You know, it's like,
and then nothing.
Right. You know, you're always asking me about weekend games and stuff and keeping up with other teams. I would say the win probability on the ESPN tracker was way up there for us right before that snap.
Yep.
You know, and then it immediately shifted. And there's just those things that with a young team and still trying to, you know, get them their football legs under them a little bit, you know, that's tough to overcome.
Yeah. Now, Riley Warwick came into the game late, didn't he, on Friday? And I felt like he made a few good throws. Other than Xavier Knight, and I felt like, again, your offensive line was pretty good on Friday night up until. But who were some other guys on Friday night that you felt like had a pretty good evening on offense?
Well, I thought as a whole, offensively, you know, we played pretty well. I thought our offensive line had one of their better games of the year as an entire unit.
Against a really big Greenbrier squad. These are big kids.
Agreed. Greenbrier's got a good front, and you know, we were able to move the ball. Kind of did what we wanted to in the running game, you know, up until that momentum shift. But started the game off with an absolute just highest peak as you could be with an opening kickoff. We returned it back for a touchdown. Brendan Adams, was able to find a little crease in the coverage and, was able to get through and make a guy miss and score. And then Brendan made some other really big plays throughout the game. And those are a guy that has, if we're kind of reflecting, and we're getting to that point in the year where you start reflecting back and thinking about the whole thing, we go all the way back to week 1. And, Brendan would tell you he had an opportunity to make a play in week 1 that just kind of slipped by his fingertips a little bit, But a credit to him, man, it didn't derail his whole year.
Yeah.
He has made countless plays for us throughout the year in big spots. He had in the Montgomery Central win, he had the kickoff return that set up the pass that got the touchdown to win the game. And then this past Friday night had the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then caught another really long pass over the middle that eventually set up our field goal.
Yep. And again, field goal. Caden Thompson, I felt like he had a pretty good day on Friday again.
He put up a highlight reel on Friday,
yeah.
man. He had a field goal, and he executed his kickoffs just like we wanted to. He had one kick where Flood from Greenbrier, number 11, he was a guy that we really didn't want to touch it on a kickoff return. And Caden did a good job kicking it away from him most of the night. He had one, though, that he did kick to him, but then Caden ended up making the tackle on the coverage. So
there you go.
It's like, man, I guess
show off
even when you're bad, you turned out all right.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our first break. Make sure y'all don't go anywhere. When we get back, we're going to talk about the defense, and then later on in the show, we're going to talk a little bit about White House and the upcoming matchup with the Blue Devils. So, like I said, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Nothing updates your home like new flooring, and we have it all. Carpet, LVP, wood, vinyl, and tile, along with professional installation, warranties, and friendly advice. Preston Thompson's Flooring and Paint, voted #1 flooring store in Dickson County.
As your local Ace Hardware of White Bluff, we are all committed to being the helpful place by offering our customers personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience from the local experts who know you best. As the helpful hardware folks in your neighborhood, we promise that helping you is the most important thing we have to do today. Visit us online or in store.
If you love Funko Pop, figures, video games, and Star Wars toys, you need to check out New Wave Hobbies. With new items arriving daily, there's always something new to discover. From Funko Pop, figures to video games, Star Wars toys to Marvel collectibles, we've got everything you're looking for. Whether you're a fan of sports, movies, or TV, you'll find something to excite you. Visit us in store or check out our Facebook, New Wave Hobbies virtual store page today.
At Dickson Tater Shack, we take loaded baked potatoes to a whole new level. We're not just any potato joint, we're the best this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Whether you're a traditionalist who loves classic flavors or a culinary adventurer seeking bold new combinations, we've got you covered. Located at 728 East College Street. Dine in or take out. Follow us on Facebook. Call us at 615-740-7111.
If your paint project calls for bold and vibrant neutrals or soft pastels, Benjamin Moore has the design-inspired colors you've been looking for in a full line of durable, long-lasting paints. And they're all here at Preston Thompson's Flooring and Paint, voted #1 paint store in Dickson County.
Welcome back to the Creekwood High School Football Coaches Show. I'm Casey Patrick. I'm here with Coach Houston Thiel. Coach, Friday night again, we talk about the momentum and the big shift. But defensively, I mean, you guys, they scored on a few quarterback, the bootleg, and then the sneak, and then, and of course, on the defensive play. But your defense, I felt like, played pretty good for the most part on Friday night. What was your assessment of them?
Yeah, again, good effort from them. Kind of got back to what we've been doing for the majority of the year, and played really well. One guy that we need to talk about as far as an individual of how he played is Keon Robertson, man.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of early in the week, Jaden Elliott, kind of our #1 cover guy, and really doesn't. I say that, but normally he's playing free safety. But if we need to match up with somebody, we usually put him on that particular receiver. And Jaden's dealing with an injury, wasn't going to be able to go this week, and Sometimes it's good to see who wants to compete and who wants it. And our defensive back coach, Coach Palmore, kind of presented that group with the opportunity of, hey, who wants to go take this guy one-on-one all night? And Keon raised his hand, and said, hey, I want to do it. I want to take on that challenge because the Flood for Greenbrier is a really good ball player.
He's D1, isn't he?
Yeah, he's committed to Austin P. He's a solid player. And then for Keon not only to want to take on the challenge and put himself in a position where, maybe you could get exposed on a couple plays.
Absolutely.
He went out and just, for the most part, not really for the most part, for the game, shut him down.
Shut him down.
He had a catch here and there, but nothing where he made any game-breaking plays. So that's something that really got to talk about. Keon played an exceptional game as far as having to match up with him. And they knew that we were covering him, one-on-one and basically falling around the field with Keon. So they did some things with motion that once or twice that made it a little bit tough for Keon to stay with him, but he fought through traffic and just continued to make plays. So that was awesome to see. We knew he could do it and had the confidence in him to do it, but to actually go out and do it was really good to see. And Greenbrier's quarterback, man, big, strong kid. Their one touchdown was set up by a play that you feel like, man, most quarterbacks we're going to bring to the ground. We're kind of wrapped up around him, and somehow he's able to get through an arm tackle and kind of extend the play. And when that happens, your coverage sometimes breaks down, or you have DBs that come off their guy to think they're going to come up and make a play. And, that's what happened in that situation. And defensive back comes off of his guy to think he's going to go up and to help with the quarterback run, and quarterback pulls up and throws it to his guy that's running wide open that set up their first touchdown.
And really, it was like the first main mistake that I think y'all had made that I'd seen in the game. Personally.
Right. Yeah, and they capitalized.
Yes,
a lot of times you might get away with that and you're okay, and it may not. It may go unnoticed until you watch film on Monday, but. It was a play in which not only did the quarterback extend it, but then he's able to find the open target.
Yeah, and the young man, the receiver for Greenbrier that you're talking about, Flood, he you can tell just watching this kid run around on the field, he's got some talent.
Sure.
He's a talented kid. And I felt like Keon never looked unmatched either. He was toe for toe with him the entire time. And that was actually I'm not a coach here or anything, but that would give me a lot of confidence going forward with him in that type of role.
Yeah, 100%. And so much of that stuff just comes down to working your technique and believing in what you've been coached to do, and having the confidence to go out and do it. That was the biggest thing. I knew he could do it, and we wouldn't have batted an eye just to say, hey, this is what you're going to do this week. But to kind of give them the opportunity to say, hey, who wants the challenge, and for him to be the one that says, yeah, I do. And then to go out and execute it that was really good to see, and a big moment for him. That's big for Keon to be able to do that. So I'm really proud of him.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I wanted to ask too, Greenbrier, of course, I believe it was a fourth down on that first QB sneak that they scored on. Was it fourth or maybe it was a third?
Yeah, no, it was fourth down.
Fourth down, okay.
Yeah, where we thought they fumbled on third down.
Well,
really
and I was
like
standing right there, and I felt like they did too. But nobody listens to me anyway. But
nor me when it comes to those things, man. Those officials they're a one-stop shop as far as what's right and wrong.
Stubborn's the right word, but I don't think I'm allowed to say that, or I don't think you're allowed to say that.
Maybe not. I don't know.
But one thing I was going to ask, Greenbrier, who knows they're out of the playoffs, not that they're not playing for anything, but they're kind of I don't know, just doing. Nobody's telling them what to do, and they are kind of wild cards. Does that make it a little bit scarier to play a team like that because they're going to go for it on fourth down?
Man, in these situations, especially with, most teams don't have anybody that can control the field in the punt game.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, or even kicking and being sure on extra points. Greenbrier's kind of been in a spot where they've been using different guys in the kickoff game, and I really wasn't sure if they would even kick extra points. I thought they might just go for two because of some things that we had seen. So I expect most people to go for it. If they're out around the 40 going out, I'm not surprised at all when we see people go for it. Just because of, that what's the difference in the end? You can punt the football and have a gain of, a net of 20 yards or something, and then, you're kind of just right in that same spot. So more times than not, we expect guys to go for it. And, I don't think that, Greenbrier, they're certainly not a team. They're a proud team. They're a tradition-rich team. They weren't going to be a team that just didn't come in here and try to play football.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take our second break. Again, make sure you don't go anywhere. We haven't got to talk about White House either. I'm going to ask Coach Thiel about last week some questions maybe that he saw on TV over the weekend. We might talk about it. We might not. I don't know. But we are going to talk about White House, so make sure you don't go anywhere.
Ethan was just one of those kids who was so kind. He was 16, funny as could be. He was just going to go hang out with some friends. He wanted to come home early and get a good night's sleep. He said, "Good night, Mom. See you in the morning. Love you." And my response was, "I love you too." I was talking to him, "Son, it's time to get up." And he didn't move. Your head doesn't go that my son has died. Having a hard conversation is so much easier than sitting in my seat.
As your local Ace Hardware of White Bluff, we are all committed to being the helpful place by offering our customers personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience from the local experts who know you best. As the helpful hardware folks in your neighborhood, we promise that helping you is the most important thing we have to do today. Visit us online or in store.
If you love Funko Pop, figures, video games, and Star Wars toys, you need to check out New Wave Hobbies. With new items arriving daily, there's always something new to discover. From Funko Pop, figures to video games, Star Wars toys to Marvel collectibles, we've got everything you're looking for. Whether you're a fan of sports, movies, or TV, you'll find something to excite you. Visit us in store or check out our Facebook, New Wave Hobbies virtual store page today.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome back to the Creekwood High School Football Coaches Show. I'm Casey Patrick. I'm here with Coach Houston Thiel. Coach, this past weekend, did you get to watch any football that you enjoyed watching?
Enjoyed is probably the key word there,
Yeah.
Casey. I did watch the Tennessee-Alabama game, Casey, which, we can probably just move on, honestly.
I kind of feel like Josh Heupel. Like, I could do the whole 15-second, when they asked him about the refs where he just didn't say nothing? I could do that. I would have gotten a fine. I know for a fact I would have gotten fined.
Sure.
And I would have just, if I was him, I would have just went to Twitter and been like, hey, you guys got to pay for it. And
right.
I would have. That's what I would have done. But did you get to see anything else that you actually did enjoy?
Well, man, that game just kind of has a spot in my brain.
It's deflating.
I did watch, what game did I watch? I watched, who was the Sunday night game this week? I watched Eagles-Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched some of that. I thought that those got a lot of big-time playmakers. And,
for sure.
And fun to watch those guys play. So, it was kind of one of those things that I really wasn't watching it to figure anything out more and just kind of turn the brain off for a few minutes and to watch it go by. But, yeah, Saturday really, really stung. But you kind of just had that feeling as a Tennessee fan that, you're like, man, kind of just been in this spot before. And
Stripes was going to show up, and I knew it at some point.
And when we're kicking field goals and not scoring touchdowns, you're like, this is going to come back to get us at some point in time, and it certainly did.
Knew it was coming. Same song and dance. Now, one thing I want to ask you, you brought up the Dolphins and Eagles. I have found myself as a kind of a bandwagon Miami fan. First of all, they're fun to watch. I've got a few guys on their fantasy on my fantasy team.
Probably doing pretty good then.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing all right. But I really like Coach McDaniel.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever just find yourself maybe keeping up with certain teams because maybe you like somebody on their team? Like, I really like Coach McDaniel. Devon A-Chain has been huge for my fantasy team, except for the last few weeks because he's been out. So I find myself seeing more Miami stuff. But are there any guys that you just really like to try and keep up with, maybe, or you see them here and there?
Man, I and I feel like it's almost like you get those guys put in front of you, you know, and it's probably your phone working against you, right? Where they kind of put. It seems like there's always Mike McDaniel clips out that they're showing you, but yeah, he's definitely. I mean, I don't know if it's interesting or what, but it's a different take.
Yeah.
You know, to hear him speak and kind of his story too is very. You know, inspiring. You know, had some tough times and been through some troubles and was able to stay the path and keep going. You know, so big credit to him and you know, a guy that I kind of and I probably again just credit it to shows you've been watching, but I've kind of just become a Kirk Cousins fan, which is not like
Kirk O'Chain.
I mean, he's not somebody that. You know, I feel like he catches a lot of flack over things and can't win in prime time, all this different stuff, but. You know, he was on the quarterback show that they put on Netflix, so you really kind of you felt like an inside look at him. And then, you know, I heard a story a couple weeks ago that I was like, man, he just seems like a normal dude, or trying to be a normal guy. Where, you know, I think it was either maybe the Twins were in the wild card series.
Yeah, they were this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were in the wild card series, and he wanted to take his family. So instead of like calling in like a favor and getting a box seat or something, he went on StubHub or whatever it was, and he bought himself 4 tickets, and they just went and sat in, section 104, got his seats, and sat down and watched the game. And he said that, he made it to about the 3rd inning before it became apparent that everybody in the whole section he was there. But I thought that was a cool story that, he didn't call in a favor and get some box seats or sit right behind the plate or something like that. He just did what any of us would have to do if we wanted to go, had to get online and buy the ticket. So I try to keep up with them a little bit and and see how they do. So they got them a win against the Niners. So that was
which was surprising, especially with Jefferson out. But
and the NFL, who knows?
Yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing. Like, other than Vegas always does know. All these teams, they got professional players, so anything really can happen. And it's crazy because some people will be like, "Oh, how did so and so beat so and so?" Well, yeah, so and so probably shouldn't have lost that game, but at the same time, every one of these individuals is a grown man that gets paid to play this game.
Right, and is really good at it.
Nobody sucks in the league. As much as you think that's a lie, nobody sucks in the NFL. They might not be as good as they once were or as good as they could be, but they're all good and they're all there for a reason. Well, did you get to catch anything else this week? Maybe not even football related that you enjoyed.
Man, I tell you right now, obviously we got a couple of Titans fans on staff, so the Kevin Byard news this week has kind of hit some of them pretty hard. And that maybe not that they didn't think it was a good move. I think maybe from a finance standpoint they understand it a little bit, but I think it's more of just the realization that they know that
this window is
this is kind of closing, and we're going to have to start trying to do some different stuff. So that's been interesting this week, and we're not going to let anybody just in this office kind of have a bad day. I mean, they're going to hear about it and they're going to get agged on. So it's been some fun times around here this week.
Well, and I think part of the issue with that is, too, of course, A.J. Brown went to the same team.
Sure.
Of course, I don't believe the Titans got enough back for A.J. Brown. I don't really know if they got enough back for Kevin, but that's to be seen or heard. But that's part of it, I guess, for me is, yeah, you've got some stuff. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Let's rebuild. I get all that. But pennies? Pennies? I mean, that kind of rough. All pro safety and just losing for what felt like nothing,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to understand the salary cap things that they've got to start to try to work through, but they get paid a lot of money to try to figure it out, and if they're not good at it, then they'll just go do it somewhere else, I guess.
Well, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, we are going to talk about White House. Got a Blue Devil team that y'all want to beat on Friday, so but we'll go over them real quick. Make sure you don't go anywhere.
Nothing updates your home like new flooring, and we have it all. Carpet LVP, wood, vinyl, and tile, along with professional installation and warranties and friendly advice. Preston Thompson's Flooring and Paint, voted #1 flooring store in Dickson County.
At Dickson Tater Shack, we take loaded baked potatoes to a whole new level. We're not just any potato joint, we're the best this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Whether you're a traditionalist who loves classic flavors or a culinary adventurer seeking bold new combinations, we've got you covered. Located at 728 East College Street. Dine in or take out. Follow us on Facebook. Call us at 615-740-7111.
Ethan was just one of those kids who was so kind. He was 16, funny as could be. He was just going to go hang out with some friends. He wanted to come home early and get a good night's sleep. He said, "Good night, Mom. See you in the morning. Love you." And my response was, "I love you too." I was talking to him, "Son, it's time to get up." And he didn't move. Your head doesn't go that my son has died. Having a hard conversation is so much easier than sitting in my seat.
Watch it! Did that guy even see that girl on her bike?
Just like looking for other cars before switching lanes, drivers should keep their eyes out for those traveling on bikes. When a crash occurs between a vehicle and a bike, it's the cyclist who is most likely to be injured. Give cyclists room and do not pass too closely. Riders have the same rights and responsibilities as those behind the wheel.
Be aware, be alert. Brought to you by THSO, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
If your paint project calls for bold and vibrant neutrals or soft pastels, Benjamin Moore has the design-inspired colors you've been looking for in a full line of durable, long-lasting paints. And they're all here at Preston Thompson's Flooring and Paint, voted #1 paint store in Dickson County.
Welcome back to the Creekwood High School Football Coaches Show. I'm Casey Patrick. I'm here with Coach Thiel. Coach, White House, I believe they're 4-5 coming into town on Friday. What do you want to see out of your team the last week of the year?
And I want to see us continuing to improve, continuing to get better, and continue to play what we consider Creekwood football. Hard-nosed, physical ball. And it's been refreshing to kind of just be back around the guys the first 2 days of this week, and just see that there's no give up. They're here to get better, they're here to work, try to win a game on Friday. We talked last week, and obviously the goal going into the year is to make the playoffs, and we kind of controlled our own destiny going into last week with needing to beat Greenbrier and then beat White House to guarantee ourselves to be in. There's an outside chance that we could still make the playoffs with the win and a Greenbrier loss to Montgomery Central. So don't necessarily control our own fate at all, okay. But still some stuff to play for, and then take all that away, and then you've got 11 or 12 guys that are not going to play football for Creekwood again after this year that we want to go out and play for and give them something memorable to go out on.
And that's always tough, isn't it? I mean, because I'm a coach too. You always kind of know, regardless of winning or losing, at some point
right,
this one's probably the last one.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man, is that so many of these guys, they all become guys that you like, whether they played all 4 years or 2 years or 1 year, whatever it is. I mean, you develop a relationship with all of them, but the guys that's been here with you for 4 years, and they've seen the really good times and been through some bad times and been here,
yeah,
and been a part of it with you. When you got to tell those guys goodbye, and even though it's not ever really goodbye, but it's a closing of a chapter for them. Mm-hmm. It's tough, and and the thing is that you can put yourself back in those shoes, and you remember what it was like knowing, hey man, I just played my last football game, and that can be tough. I mean, high school football it's a sweet thing. It's a lot of memories to be made there, a lot of good times. I tell these guys around here a lot that this is a special, special sport. You don't turn on the radio and you hear songs about high school football. You don't hear songs about Tuesday night baseball games.
Yeah.
It just is special. It's a memory that's going to last them a lifetime. and you're glad to be a little part of it. And hopefully that they're able to take a lot more positives away from it than negatives.
All righty, Coach. Well, I got one more question. What do you think White House is going to try and do on Friday night, and what are y'all going to do to beat it?
Well, White House, you've seen them play before. We're on defense, man. They're going to, when we're on defense, offensively, they're going to do 1,000 different shifts. They're going to have guys moving around crazy, different spots. But, they got to get set at some point in time and got to run a football play. And when they do that, they want to come downhill. They're a physical team. They want to run the ball right at you. The biggest thing for us is getting lined up right defensively. It's going to be hard to be successful if we don't start to play in the right spot. Offensively, I think we got to build on what we did last week.
I agree.
And continue to get some improved play from our offensive line, continue to run the football. And I want to come back to Xavier, man. He had a heck of a night and was running the ball how we've tried to get him to run it all year long. And it was one cut downhill, running through tackles, and that was great to see. And I look forward to seeing that again against White House. And I think if we can do all those things, it's a fourth quarter game, I think. These two teams are pretty evenly matched as far as skill and talent, and it's going to be a game that somebody's going to make some plays in the third and fourth quarter that'll give their team the edge.
I agree. So Friday night, y'all, Red Hawks and Blue Devils. So y'all know where to be out here in Charlotte. Coach, good luck Friday night.
Casey, thank you.
All righty. Y'all have a good week. We'll see.
You've been watching the Creekwood High School Coaches Show with Creekwood head coach Houston Thiel and Dickson Post sports reporter Casey Patrick. Join us each week at this time on Main Street Media TV to get the latest on Creekwood football. The Creekwood Football Coaches Show is brought to you by Preston Thompson's Carpet Shop, Dickson Tater Shack, New Wave Hobbies, Ace Hardware of White Bluff, Drug Free Dickson Coalition, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.